So let's throw it to you though, Denny, because you're going to ask me some questions.
Yeah,
about
I did have some questions. I read through it this morning, and obviously we can't get to every coach, but I wanted to start at the top. You have Andy Reid at the top.
So let me interrupt you literally immediately.
Okay.
Because I've done the article since 2014, I think was the first year I did it. And this is the very first year where I've admitted defeat. I don't have Bill Belichick in number one.
Which, I mean, that's definitely, I think, the right call. So my question for you, and you, first I want to compliment something you wrote about Andy Reid. You said Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches of all time in the middle of an imperial phase, showing no signs of slowing down. I just want to compliment you on that turn of phrase.
Thank you, Denny.
From one Raider to another. And yeah, so he has Patrick Mahomes still in his prime, probably will be in his prime for the next, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years. And
what?
No, I'm talking about Mahomes.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a little longer than that. 5
more years of prime Mahomes?
Yeah, I'd say like 6 or 7 at least, probably.
Okay. Well,
anyways, I don't know. Sorry.
My question is there a scenario? Because you said, okay, Belichick's 2, but Belichick is, in your opinion, the greatest of all time. If you had to win a game on any given Sunday, you're giving it to Belichick. So is there a scenario where Andy Reid overtakes Bill Belichick as the greatest coach of all time over the next 5, 6, 7 years?
Wow, man.
Not to get heavy.
I had never thought about that. I honestly don't know because, too, I mean, so much of it is about like PR and aura, and like Belichick's aura, formed very early in his career. And so did Andy Reid's. But like Andy Reid's has always been of like, this guy will score 1 million. It was never like an overall football genius, Andy Reid, and where Bill Belichick got himself branded so early on as overall football genius. And I think it'll probably just come down like as what it always does, the raw number of championships, and that there's probably no way he's got 4 more in him, Andy Reid. But I think more likely is that Andy Reid has made it unassailable that he's now the second best coach of the 21st century. I'm kind of trying to avoid stuff like all time. Even for Bill Belichick, I've tried to stop saying like greatest coach of all time.
Sure.
Because all I really know is the 21st century, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
And where I think what is much more likely and is happening is that Andy Reid is now unassailably the number 2 and will be the guy who always gets mentioned immediately after Belichick. And he already was like the most commonly referenced guy right after Bill Belichick. I mean, he still didn't even have more Super Bowls than like John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin. So he's like just now got like that differentiator over a lot of his like next closest competitors, where he finally has that second Super Bowl. And it might also just like serve in some weird way. Maybe it will just serve as like even further reinforcement of the Patriots' greatness. Like Andy Reid couldn't even get a second Super Bowl until Tom Brady, basically was like finally retired. And
oh man,
I don't know if any of this even makes sense. But
no, I get it. What I'm asking you to please say yes, because I desperately don't want to call Bill Belichick the greatest coach of all time.
No, he will be, and Bill Belichick will be too, though, because you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. I mean, Bill Belichick is like the ultimate like Daniel Plainview, where like, he took it to the limit always, and you can question his methods, and it should question his methods. Probably, but
you got to hand it to him.
You do have to hand it to him, and the results they have spoken for themselves, and they've shattered many a dream, including mine when I was 15, and they cheated against the Rams.
Yeah, they cheated, but it worked out because they won.
It did. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Sorry, I know you want to like where as Reid is getting older, his reputation is improving, and Belichick, his is like finally taking on a little water. It is a really interesting scenario, and where it's like you can't just say it's only about quarterbacks either.
Yeah,
because Andy Reid had so much success without ever having like a Tom Brady type quarterback. He had some really good quarterbacks. Donovan McNabb, probably going to end up one of the more underrated quarterbacks of the 21st century. But like he had so much success without a Brady or Mahomes, And like now, like the Mahomes is basically like his just reward, basically for how good he was.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Bill Belichick is still trying to find his footing without his Brady.